Dozens of US states have filed a lawsuit accusing Facebook and Instagram owner Meta of profiting from children's pain and damaging their mental health and misleading the public over the safety of its platforms. How is the Indian government viewing this? Joining me is Minister of State for Electronics and Technology, Mr. Rajeev Chandrasekhar. Mr. Chandrasekhar, really appreciate your time. Similar complaints have been received by your ministry on the adverse impact of social media on adolescents, be it increasing cases of suicides, depression, and even aggression. How is the government of India viewing this?
So, Marya, so thank you for taking this issue up. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, way back 2 years ago, has essentially laid out the basic principles in terms of how we need to look at the internet, how we need to look at tech in general, and has said that, while we have certainly known the internet to be a power for good and technology for a power for good for many, many years and decades, that is how we have all seen technology and the internet. Certainly, it is clear now that there are harms that are also prevalent on the internet. There are issues of addiction, user harm, exploitation that are also prevalent on the internet. And we have taken a view that safety and trust for our 1.2 billion digital Nagriks who will be on the internet and the 830 million who are already on the internet is a policy priority, and we are shaping pretty much whatever we do along those basic principles that have been laid down. So safety and trust and accountability, these three basic attributes are what we are building policies and rules around. And if you see what we have done recently with the online gaming rules, Marya, we have brought in the issue of permissibility for only those games online which do not have addiction, which do not cause any harm, which do not have gambling and betting. And these three are characterized as three not acceptable user harms as far as online games are concerned. And the latest rules that we came out address about 11 different types of user harms, including but not limited to addiction. So I'm glad that actually the world, which really was silent about these social media platforms for so many years, are now waking up to the threats of user harm that these platforms certainly represent in today's day and age.
Yes, and in the past also, the government of India, your ministry had written to Facebook, to Twitter, to take down contents which had child pornography. The response from the social media giants have been delayed. Can we expect some tightening of norms in order to ensure adherence?
No, I think it is absolutely necessary that as we move forward and as more and more Indians, digital Nagriks come online and start using these platforms, there are many crores, 83 crore Indians already. As I said, we are the largest connected democracy in the world. And so therefore, it is very important for both the platforms and the government working in a non-adversarial way, in a partnership, to ensure that these platforms are much safer than they are today. And safety really means that these platforms must not have CSAM, must not have misinformation.
Mr. Chandrasekhar, the WHO, that is the World Health Organization, has recommended a ban on phones in schools and for children of a certain age. The UK government will go ahead and implement it. Is there something on these lines on card here? Are you looking at something? I mean, is that really an option here?
No, look, this is certainly not something that I deal with directly. That is squarely in the domain of the Ministry of Education. And of course, the state governments have their own say in matters like what students in schools do. But I certainly believe, sitting where I am and seeing the internet as I am seeing today, evolve from what it used to be to what it is today and what it will be, with all of these new emerging technologies of artificial intelligence, etc., that there ought to be a greater, deeper discussion on the harmful effects of tech in general and the harmful content on the internet in particular. I think that debate, especially through the prism of protecting our children, protecting their own growth and evolution into adults, well-rounded adults, is something that we ought to think about and be more than a little concerned about. I think that point I would certainly stress from a legislative point of view and the rules point of view and the new forthcoming Digital India Act. We are certainly looking at the harmful effects and the user harms that platforms can imply for or can represent for those who use those platforms. And I think that discussion Marya, is a very good discussion to start having because for all these years we have looked at tech through the prism of the good that it does, but we should also wake up to the reality that there is a harm and there is a criminality that is also lurking on the internet and in tech in general. So this is a conversation that we should have.
Yes, Mr. Chandrasekhar, the fact is that India is the biggest user base for Facebook and Instagram. So one would say that vulnerability to this kind of addiction also goes up. How do you ensure accountability of social media organizations?
No, I think the accountability, certainly I think the world has it by and large given a free ride or a free pass to most of these platforms over the last decade and a half. The US in particular, with their, the right to First Amendment, the free speech and the Section 230 have given these platforms an immunity from any prosecution. Even in our act, in the IT Act, there is unfortunately a provision called Section 79 that gives immunity to these platforms from prosecution of any criminal or harmful content or harmful effect that these platforms may have. So I think it is time to relook at all that. And I think it is important for platforms to be much more accountable and responsible for what they do and what content they host and who they allow on their platforms to host content. And that I suspect, and I'm not trying to be an astrologer or predict, I think the days of this free pass and immunity to the platforms are over, and more people around the world, including in India, are asking for, and certainly this is our government's intention as well, that we want to have these platforms more and more accountable for the harm that is caused by the platforms, advertently, inadvertently, accidentally, deliberately, as the case may be. But we certainly want more and more accountability of the platforms for the harms they cause, or if they cause, to the people that use it, especially our children.
My last question to you, and I'm going back to the question that I had asked, the government, when it is about taking action against Facebook or Insta, have you in the past communicated, and what has the response been? Because I remember those very strong letters being written by the IT ministry to Facebook, to Twitter, to take down those contents. But what really happened post that?
No, Marya, I don't think it's an issue about whether we write strong letters or soft letters. I think we expect all of the platforms to follow the laws and follow the rules that have been laid down. We have certainly in the recent days sent out notices under our IT rules on CSAM, child sexual abuse material that we believe that exists, and we have evidence of that on many platforms, and we have sent them these notices. And if they don't react, some of them have responded, some of them have not. If they don't respond, the consequences under law will follow automatically. I don't think this is about acting tough or not tough, or writing strong letters or soft letters. This is certainly about an undiluting zero tolerance expectation from the government of all platforms, foreign or Indian, big or small, that they must comply with Indian law, and they must ensure that the expectations that they don't cause harm to the Indian citizens is always followed.
All right, IT Minister Rajeev Chandrasekhar there wading into this current suits that have been filed against Facebook and Instagram. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.